Hey, John, kind of rekindling some of the stuff we talked about last night, at least one of the topics. My lived experience is that when somebody needs to relax, the worst way to get them to relax is to tell them to relax. That can be almost be counterproductive. What possibly did you do in the span, or you or the rest of the team do in the span of that first intermission to calm nerves? How do you calm nerves in the middle of a game like that?
It's the players that need to calm themselves. Um, I can't calm their nerves. I think the only thing coaches uh, can do, whether it be right or wrong, is what type of tone is set in between periods. But it ultimately comes down to the players calming themselves.
So you tried to set what tone then in that intermission?
I think we talked about this last night, Porter. You're beating it up pretty good here. We were a rigid, uptight, looked like a nervous hockey team.
Yeah.
And those are things that, as a coaching staff, we have to look at. Again, I'm still trying with so many new bodies and developing and with our center ice position and changing that around last night. I'm still trying to, quite honestly, figure out how I can help them. Certain guys need to be pushed. Certain guys need to be just calmed down and talked to. I'm still trying to figure that out with a lot of new faces that we have here. And quite honestly, trying to figure out how the coaches can help the team, because we can hurt the team also.
Yeah.
We may pound our chest and feel good about it, that we gave it to them and told them what we thought. Sometimes that's the proper thing to do. Other times it isn't. Those are things, and I'm being honest with you, I'm still trying to figure out with the club.
Yeah. The practice, that's going on right now, it's a lot of levity, hard work, but they look to be fun drills, at least from up above. Is that an extension of that? And are you not out there purposefully just to give?
Yeah, they've heard my voice plenty. So there are certain days I don't think they need to see me, and some days I don't want to see myself. And when I get sick of hearing myself, I can imagine what players feel. So, yeah, we did not want to today. We did not want to get into coaching, I guess. We wanted them to move the blood, have some fun, and realize that you can have fun in a hockey season and in the inconsistencies we've gone through.
Thank you.
Next, we'll go to Brian Hedger. Go ahead, Hedge.
Hey, John. And you touched on this last night, but with your center ice situation right now, it seems, at least from the outside, like it's a situation that you haven't really dealt with here before, in that you don't really have the number one center that you can just kind of put up there and be like, that's our number one guy, and then go from there. How tough is this balance of trying to develop young centers and also keep the team competitive as well?
Yeah. It's been a really interesting year I think for all of us. I mean, let's face it, in real life, it's been an interesting year for everybody in our world as far as the pandemic. I don't want to keep on going back to that. We're not using it as an excuse, but it's a different year that way. And the influx of players coming to our team, and in the middle of the ice is an area that's been a situation for us since I've been here, as far as trying to solidify that. We thought we were making strides there, but then things change, as we saw at the beginning of the year. So it's something I think about all the time, is developing people at a very important position, but also trying to win hockey games. And so, yeah, it's been an interesting one, and it's something I think about all the time, before the game, in between games, during the game. because I do want to give some kids opportunities and trying to go through some of the experiences and sometimes fail. So yeah, you're as an organization, we're looking short term to win, but also when I'm on the bench and I'm dealing with the players and teaching, and our coaches are, I have to look a little bit long term too and put them in spots. So is it difficult? No, it's just what we are right now. And yeah, so again, like I said last night, I'm not sure what it's going to be tomorrow night, and we'll just see where it goes.
When you look at those young guys that you mentioned, Rosovic, Texier, Stenland, even Domi, I guess you could throw them in there. I mean, do you see the makings of potentially top 6 type centers in there eventually?
Well, I can't answer that question. You know, that word potential is a very dangerous word. It is potential is potential. Eventually, as you put them in the spots and you put them in and you see how they handle it, do they get more ice time and do they develop quicker that way? These are all. It's hard to say they're going to be this. You know, Jack hasn't played a whole bunch of center, and neither of none of these guys have, and so I don't know what they're going to be. And that's not being negative about it. It's just I'm not gonna make a prediction when I'm still trying to figure out who they are and how to coach them, how to handle them. It's a very important part of my job here. Is how do I handle the individual as I'm still trying to figure them out and them trying to figure me out, and how do I handle the team as we infuse them into really the core of the team that I know and they know me. That's where we're at.
Last one from me is in changing gears here a little bit. You're not the kind of guy that's going to pump the tires of an opposing player, but I mean, you look at Patrick Kane. He's 32 years old, doesn't seem to be showing any signs of slowing up. How tough is it? How much of a headache is it to play against that guy?
Yeah, he's one of the top players in the league, and one of the best at getting lost. And all of a sudden, there he is. Yeah, so it's a handful. It's a handful with him. Always has been for all teams. I'm not really too interested in talking about him, but I need to show him that respect. I've dealt with him a little bit in international tournaments. He's a really good player.
Next, we'll go to Mark Scheig. Go ahead, Mark.
Thanks, Todd. John, just looking back at last night, seeing Max Domi take that offensive zone slash, I could just imagine how frustrated you and him are with things. Just how frustrated are you that you're not getting more, and how frustrated does he look to you?
Yeah, I for me, yeah, you see what happens with me with Max is I've seen him play. I'll just go to with Montreal. I've seen him play. I've seen what type of player he can be. And with me, that sticks with me. And I always tell our players this, that once I see you get to a level, then we expect that all the time. And then we're going to try to push you to another level. Max is nowhere near where he played in Montreal. And that is just an honest observation. It's certainly not to criticize him, but and I'm sure Max would agree with it. Again, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but yeah. So it's one that I was hoping that would really we'd be getting more offense from him, but right now we're not. And so we'll see as we progress, see where it all goes.
Next, we'll go to Jeff Swoboda. Go ahead, Jeff.
Thanks, Todd. Torts, it's only 2 games for Gabriel Carlson, so it's probably hard to make a full assessment of where he's coming along, but he ended up playing pretty big minutes last night, ends up on the second pair. And do you just like what you've seen out of him out of these last couple games?
Yeah, I'm just in the middle of doing a bunch of tape work on our back end, watching our back end, because we have some decisions to make there as far as tomorrow's lineup and just as far as where we are in our back end. I thought he had some really good puck boys. He's still he'll lose a battle or two along the way here. I still think he's going to get stronger. But I thought he gave us some good minutes. The thing I liked about him, I don't think he was afraid to make a play. I don't think he was afraid to hold on to pucks at certain times when he needed to instead of just throwing it away. which is a very important part of us improving our game, is not just to throw pucks away. So I liked his minutes, and he's going to play. He's going to play. I'm not sure what the six are going to be tomorrow night. I'm not sure what the forward line is going to be tomorrow night, but he's going to be in the lineup.
And defensively as well, Seth ends up playing over 31 minutes last night, and obviously overtime factors into that. And with being out some offensive guys, you kind of had to throw them out there a little bit. But does that just speak to you can throw him those minutes when you need to put him in a situation like that?
Yeah, and Jonesy's a guy during, it hasn't been smooth for him this year, but you can see it coming for him. I think his game's improving. He's beginning to get involved in the offense with us here. He's had some bad luck. He's had some plays that he usually makes and they get batted down, but I think his game is coming. It just seems the past 2 or 3 games he's improving, and hopefully it'll keep on going on that plane.
Thank you.
Next, we'll go to Allison Lucan. Go ahead, Allison.
Thanks, John. I know you mentioned already this is a little bit of a different kind of year. You don't like to give players more information, but with the schedule such that it is there different types of information you are using as coaches to do your job? I know you have the puck touch worksheet, you look at scoring chances. Is there any other information you are using as coaches this year?
I'll answer it this way. It's a weird year to coach in some of the things with protocols where you have to use some virtual meetings because they don't want you in groups. We try to prioritize when we are able to maybe speak to them face to face. We're making decisions that way. How much information they do get, which is the most important information that you need to do eyeball to eyeball, versus doing the virtual meetings, which has really been it's really been crazy for me as a guy, an old schooler that just wants to go face to face with the players. It's really different for me. And you know what, it scares me, and I don't want to go overboard here. When we get healthy and the world gets healthy and the pandemic is gone, I just hope this game doesn't go to that virtual stuff. And that scares me because I think sometimes that just takes the personality out of it, the stuff that I think you really need to do face to face. And I'm going off track, but I worry about that is because now we're experiencing a little bit of that in protocol. I hope it gets trashed right away when we get healthy.
You and me both, John. Do you look at any different like data specific resources? Are you trying to analyze the game differently since games are coming so quickly? No.
Shawzy's a big, he plays around with that stuff, as you very well know, Allison. Our analytic guy gives us information. The coaches gives me some, Danny gives me some. I try to use as much as I can without getting, quite honestly, too confused with all the information that you could get. I still, especially for me this year, I'm trying to figure out the players. And I don't think I've done a good enough job of that to this point in how to coach certain players. I think I'm finding inroads and certain players. I don't think I've come close to doing my job properly with some other guys to try to get them playing. I think that's a huge part of my job this year, and with a number of the new bodies, and I have not done a good enough job with certain people, and I think I'm reaching some other people. So I don't want to use numbers. I want interaction. I think that's very important.
Awesome. Thank you, John.
You bet.
And lastly, we'll go back to Aaron Portzline. Go ahead, Porty.
Thanks, Todd. John, what was OT like for you last night beyond Seth Jones? I know you didn't have Werenski or Del Zotto. So you, Gavrikov, Carlson, what did you see there, and how wild a ride was that from the bench knowing you didn't have those guys?
Yeah, and I'm not running the D. I'm using the forwards, and I'm pretty busy as far as the forwards too. As far as what I want, when's Kane coming over the bench? I had a couple of people out that I thought Kane was coming over the bench. Then he threw Janmark out there instead of Kane. It's a lot of things are running through my head too as it was going in flow, not with faceoffs. But you put your people out there. That's our lineup. We had guys that played in it that haven't played in it a whole bunch. But you just can't call a timeout and say, no, I want to use Jonesy the whole 5 minutes here. You go with it. I went with it with the forwards. Sometimes some of the forwards I had out there, I kind of held my breath in certain situations, but it was probably our best overtime. It was frustrating for me, as I said last night, guys, after the game. I wanted that win for them. We were stagnant and nervous and ugly in the first period. We fought back a couple of times, still weren't really on top of our game, but I just wanted them to, I wanted them to listen to some damn music after the game and have some fun. And those overtimes are so fun when you win them. And it's just like the bottom fell out when you lose them, although we did some good things to get to that point.
You talked about using Boone for the opening face-off. You won the face-off. You like to look at that. Did that set the tone for you?
Yeah, I wanted to get first possession. I just felt it was in last night's game was very important to get first possession. We did, and I'm not. And it's not thinking bad on Jens. It worries me a little bit if we get caught in our end a little bit if they get the right people on the ice. But I wanted to take a chance with him there, and Jens has played so well. So we get the first possession. I thought we had a good overtime. I did. I wish we scored. I mean, obviously, we had some really good looks with the right people, the puck on their stick. But hopefully we can. The biggest thing for us is to play tomorrow night's game and just build off some of the minutes, some of the good minutes that we played in the prior game versus Chicago.
And the last one for me, Andrew Peak looked so together his first game after almost a year off. Seems to have fizzled since then. What did you see? What led up to him being sent back to Cleveland today?
Yeah, he's got to go play. He's got to go play. He's got to play big minutes. He's got to. As I talked to Andrew last night after the game, I just think he's such a trier. I think he's almost too aggressive in his thinking, where I just like to see the game come to him more. I felt he was just chasing the game because he was trying so hard. And when you try so hard as a defenseman, you take yourself out of position. And there were just too many times that I see him racing back, chasing someone back to good ice, where I'd rather have him in the good ice. And that means he needs to slow himself down, and he needs experience. I mean, the kid hasn't played in a year. That's the toughest position to play. Goaltending is the most important. That's the toughest position to play because you have so many things coming at you in split-second situations. So this is a good thing. This is a good thing for him. He may not think so, but this is a good thing. He'll get a ton of minutes there.